We're so used to the things our body does to keep us alive each day that we barely ever think about the mechanisms of sleeping, talking, breathing, or even blinking. But what would happen to your body if you stopped doing each of these things all of a sudden? How long would it be before it became a problem? Not that I've ever considered taking some sort of vow of silence, but I do sometimes wonder what would happen if I just stopped talking altogether. Would I lose my voice forever at one point? Let's look at what specialists at Columbia University have to say. First of all, our vocal cords are muscles, so they do need a workout every now and then to stay in shape. If you stopped speaking, these muscles would start to get weaker after a while. As a result, your voice would become quieter, and its pitch would get higher. Even worse, this might make it sound hollow, and basically, it would be harder for you to speak overall. In a way, it's one of those situations where if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, kind of. Luckily, breathing and eating would enter into the equation here. These processes would keep your muscles in some shape. Plus, no matter how long you kept silent, it wouldn't do any permanent damage. And once you started using your vocal cords again, your voice would be back. We all know what might happen if we stopped washing. We'd smell. But let's look at it from a scientific point of view. How about an experiment where a person stops showering for a whole year? Depending on its type, a person's skin would initially become either extremely oily or very dry. The oiliest parts of their body, like behind the ears and the neck, would collect dust and pollutants and even change color. As for their head, it would get very itchy because of all that skin buildup. And after such a long time of not having a proper cleaning routine, it could take weeks to get the skin back to normal. It may sound like a vacation of sorts, but let's look at what would happen if you never got out of bed. One of the first organs to feel the change would be our lungs. Without gravity to pull them down into their standard position, their lower part would crease. But coughing every now and then would help to reduce this effect. Going further, you'd start to lose about 1% of your bone density with each passing week. This would make your bones more fragile. By the way, it's also the reason why astronauts, who can go for months without experiencing gravity, need to move around for at least 2 hours a day and make sure they have enough calcium in their diet. That same 1% would also apply to your muscle mass. You'd first start to see the effects of this lack of movement in your thighs and shoulders. The unused sugars that previously went to the muscles would start to build up in the blood system after about 10 days. After a whole month in bed, your heart would end up pumping 30% less blood with each beat. There would be less oxygen in your body, and you'd feel even more tired, which sounds kind of surprising. After all, you'd spend the entire month in bed. What would happen if you held your breath for too long? Let's have a look at the timeline. Firstly, the oxygen levels in your brain would decrease, followed by a higher level of carbon dioxide. Usually your body gets rid of this gas pretty fast when you breathe out. After about 60 seconds, the cells in your body would start to behave differently than they normally do. All body parts would be affected by the sudden change. Your heart would start to beat irregularly. If you didn't begin to breathe even at this point, you'd most likely end up fainting. Similar to so many other mammals, we humans have a diving response. This is a built-in automated mechanism that you come equipped with. It makes sure that your brain always has enough oxygen, even in an emergency situation. This diving response starts working extra hard every time your face ends up in the water, but it can happen on dry land as well. Its main aim is to make sure your brain continues functioning, no matter the cost. So, it orders your body to redirect all the blood from non-essential body parts, like legs or arms, to the brain. Now, what would happen if you stopped blinking? Or if you didn't blink frequently enough? Firstly, your corneas would likely increase in size. The cornea is the only part of your body that doesn't have a blood supply, but it still needs oxygen to function properly, and it gets it straight from the air. By the way, that's the reason why your cornea swells up, just a bit, when you sleep, but it goes back to normal in the morning. Then, your eyes would probably start to dry out because the tear film wouldn't get restored. What does this mean? Mostly some pain and blurry vision. Blinking also helps with removing all dirt and dust from your eyes. And if you stop moving your eyelids, things would most likely get stuck in your eyes and cause serious damage. We take chewing for granted, don't you think so? But come to think of it, it's the first stage of digestion. Chewing helps your stomach to process the food you eat more easily by breaking it into smaller parts. Chewing less, or not at all, should you ever resort to a full liquid diet, might cause harm not only to your digestive system, but, surprisingly, to your jaw muscles as well. Without regular chewing movements, your facial features would change pretty soon. Chewing also lets your stomach know when it's time to increase its acidity so it can process food better. Your senses are a huge part of your day-to-day lives, and here's a neat trick that the human brain can do. When one sense is lost or damaged, another can become much more heightened. People with bad eyesight may be able to hear better, while those who have problems with their hearing might have some sort of enhanced vision. Recent research has shown that the brain can actually remodel itself, giving more power to other senses when one is damaged or missing. They notice this in microscopic roundworms. They have a peculiar behavior when they have a poor sense of touch. Then, their sense of smell becomes super sensitive, and they manage to seek out food sources with a very faint scent. Similarly, some visually impaired people have something in common with bats. Such people basically learn to use their boosted hearing to navigate the world more efficiently. They make a series of rapid clicking noises. This is just how bats use their built-in sonar to find their way when there's no light. Your brain is home to 86 billion neurons. It shouldn't come as a surprise that it also has some sort of a backup plan when some of its parts fail, right? But then there's another question. Why aren't our senses heightened from the very beginning? I mean, we're obviously born with this capability, so why don't we just activate it by default? The explanation is a bit complex. Mostly, it all comes down to your body's inability to work really hard for extended periods of time. To be more precise, your body is always looking to obtain and maintain a certain balance in order to function properly. When one sense is deprived, another needs to be sharper. More so, all these changes in our senses, depending on the circumstances, appear to be reversible. This yet again illustrates the human body's need to function in harmony.
Such a beautiful day, isn't it? It is, until it all goes boom. That's gravity disappearing for just a second. Let's recap the events from the smallest to the largest scale. We'll start with you. Yes, you. If gravity is lost for a single second, unfortunately, you'll most probably be no more. Thing is, gravity doesn't only keep you anchored to the Earth, it also holds all the atoms inside your body together. If this force completely disappears, even for such a short period of time, chances are you'll simply fly apart. Blah! If you don't, then you'll start floating above the ground. Not high though, because 1 second isn't enough to fly too far away. If the gravity stops working only for you, then you'll levitate a little over an inch upwards and then fall back without consequences. Your thoughts will be occupied by the lack of oxygen in your lungs though, because with no gravity, your blood will stop pumping. Now, if it affects the surrounding objects as well, you'll be lucky to be away from home because everything around you will float too. And after a second, all your cutlery, your bed, your wardrobes, etc. will smash down on the floor. Luckily, buildings and trees will probably stay put because they're strongly rooted in the ground by their own means. Still, the picture won't be pretty, and it'll be up to you to clean that mess. Shucks. By the way, You surely know our planet is spinning and hurtling through space at mind-blowing speeds, so there's a chance that if gravity does turn off for a second, everything on the Earth's surface will succumb to inertia and fly horizontally at several hundred miles per hour. That will be an even bigger mess, but only if everything retains its mass. If it doesn't, then it should be no problem. Maybe. Yet, the real trouble starts if the gravity disappears for the entire planet. The force of gravity is equal to the pressure from inside the Earth, and if the outside pressure is gone, nothing will stop the molten innards of our planet from bursting onto the surface. An immense earthquake will begin all over the Earth as the tectonic plates move upwards. Also, all the world's volcanoes will probably erupt too, since the lava will be pumped up with the pressure. If such a mega eruption occurs, no life will survive except the sturdiest of creatures, such as tardigrades. The clouds of volcanic ash will spread across the whole planet, blocking the sun. At first, the temperatures will rise due to the greenhouse effect, but then the planet will cool down and a new ice age will begin. Optimistic. This will all happen even if the gravity returns after a second, because the motion will already start and it'll take a more powerful force to calm it down. Up above, the atmosphere of the Earth will simply evaporate. The air we breathe is also kept around the planet by the force of gravity, so if it pops, we'll have nothing to fill our lungs with. When the gravity comes back in a second, the atmosphere will eventually gather itself back, but the damage will have been done already. It will take a lot of time for the air to return to its original composition. Meanwhile, in space, things are even worse. As far as we know, everything in the universe is held together by gravity, including other planets, stars, galaxies, and even galactic clusters. On a cosmic scale, our planet is but a fleck of dust, having a really tiny mass. The Sun is incredibly huge by comparison. It's 109 times bigger in diameter and over 300,000 times more massive, which is why its gravity is able to keep so many planets in its orbit. And now that enormous force is just poof. Even though it's only a second, the immense pressure of gas from inside our star makes it explode, sending a heat wave far greater than anything we've ever experienced in history. Now, the Sun will most likely survive because a second is too short a period of time for the star to inflate too much. But the same can't be said about Mercury, Venus, Earth, and probably Mars too. Mercury, being the closest, will probably be simply incinerated. The temperature on Venus is already extremely high, but it will spike even more, scorching its surface. Good thing it's not inhabited. And bad thing that Earth is. The heat wave from the Sun will probably obliterate our atmosphere first and then do the same with the surface. So, from the looks of it, nothing will be able to survive again. Oh well. But that's not even close to the end. Our Sun is one of the smallest stars in the universe, the biggest known one being about 1,500 times larger and more massive. If such a giant loses its gravity for a second, everything around it for millions upon millions of miles will simply disintegrate, including other smaller stars. But the objects with the most mass and, as a result, the most gravity are neutron stars and black holes. Both of them are extremely small for their mass, like me. But the pressure inside them is so immense that the loss of gravity for even a fraction of a second might mean a tremendous space explosion. And with a whole second, it's basically warranted. Nobody knows for sure, though, how black holes operate, so there's a chance that something else will happen with them, or nothing at all. Finally, on the largest scale, if gravity decides to take a second-long break, surprisingly, nothing much will happen. Planets will mostly retain their orbits, although they might change a little bit, and if we talk about galaxies or galactic clusters, those won't even notice anything. The biggest changes will be local because, as I said earlier, stars will explode, and the larger the blast, the more it will affect the neighboring celestial bodies. For example, if a star large enough sends a wave of energy in the direction of our solar system, it might send asteroids flying toward us from the Oort cloud. Those space rocks fall onto the Moon and even Earth quite regularly, but they're mostly rather small. The ones sent to us by a star explosion, however, might be a lot bigger and more dangerous. We will be protected by other planets, but still, the chances of collision will be a lot higher than normal. But who cares really? We'll be toast by then. Obviously, this is all just speculation. Nobody knows for sure what'll happen if gravity suddenly decides to stop working even for a second. What we know, though, is that it can't happen without numerous laws of physics being broken all at once. Scientists are pretty certain such a turning off is impossible altogether. For this to happen, everything in the universe will have to lose its mass first. Mass is the main reason things have gravity. So, the heavier the object, the more gravity it has. Even you have it. It's just so small that you can't feel it. But if you were several million times more massive, you'd probably be the center of everyone's attention. Hey, I'd use that opportunity. Woo, that party was wild. You and your friends go out of the club and call a taxi. 10 minutes later, you're all riding in comfort to your homes. From the corner of your eye, while chatting with your buddies, you register that street lights are out already. Although it's 3 a.m. and still dark outside. Whatever. The taxi drops you at your house and speeds away. The driveway is dark as well. Everyone's probably asleep, no wonder. You walk to your front door. The motion-sensitive light doesn't turn on. Now that's weird. The bulb must have blown. You shrug and fumble for your keys in the dark. Gotcha. Now, be quiet not to wake everyone. You don't turn on the lights in the hall, take off your shoes, and tiptoe to the bathroom. All you need now is a good shower to wash off the sweat from all that dancing. You click the light switch, and nothing. The light doesn't turn on here either. Now, that's not a coincidence. You briefly think of going to the basement and using the diesel generator, but drop the idea. The thing is too loud. Okay, you'll wash in the dark then. You turn the bath tap, but all it does is gurgle and let out a few grimy drops, and then it goes quiet. Wonderful. No light, no water. The best end of the night ever. Annoyed, you go upstairs to your room, careful not to step on your cat on the way, and fall on the bed without even undressing. What's the point, right? Morning. You wake up feeling yucky. The clothes cling to your body. You desperately need a shower now. You go downstairs to the bathroom, click on the lights without thinking, and it all comes back to you. There's still no light. You check the tap again, no news there either. Just great. Okay, it's 11 a.m. already. Generator it is then. You go to the basement and pour some gas into the tank, then turn it on. It begins roaring loudly, but at least it works. That means you have electricity now. As you go back up, you see your mom's woken up. You explain what's going on and go outside to the nearby store to get some bottled water. On the way, you meet one of your neighbors. He's carrying a gallon bottle of water in each hand. You quickly find out everyone seems to have the same problem. No light, no water. As you turn the corner, even from afar, you can see a line before the store entrance. You have to wait for a full 20 minutes before your turn comes, and you take your own 2 gallons. The cashier informs you in a tired voice that card payments are not available due to power outage. Only cash, please. You roll your eyes and give him $5. Surely it's a temporary inconvenience, nothing more. You go back hauling the bottles. It's been a full month now without electricity and tap water. What started as a nuisance is now turning into a full-blown disaster. Most public venues are closed, as well as factories and even schools. TV isn't working either, obviously, so many people have gone unemployed. You had to drop your studies, helping your parents in the yard. They've been busy growing their own vegetables there. But what really worries you is that there still hasn't been any official announcement about what's happening. People are starting to gather in close communities to help each other. Many of those whose work was related to computers and machines are now learning to survive on their own without the modern conveniences. But even farmers have had it tough. They try to use machines sparingly, saving the fuel, and their work has become increasingly hard. Bottled water is becoming a luxury too. The prices have skyrocketed in the past few weeks, and if it doesn't get better soon, only select few will have access to clean water. At home, you only turn on the diesel generator when it's necessary, to cook food or do a quick cleanup once every few days. At other times, you don't use electricity at all. You're starting to get used to waking up at dawn to catch as much sunlight during the day as possible. When the sun sets, nothing can be done in the darkness, so you either go to sleep after a hard day's work or burn a candle and read a good old-fashioned book. Half a year has passed, nothing's changing, there's still no information about what caused the outage, and people who went on expeditions to other towns return with the same news from everywhere. The problem seems to be global. Getting used to your new lifestyle, you and your parents have reorganized your household. You've got a couple of cows and several chickens for milk and eggs. And your backyard is now a real garden with cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, and even apples growing under your supervision. Getting water for drinking and gardening is an ordeal, though. Bottled water has become too rare and extremely expensive. So now you have to go to the river 6 miles away. At first, you traveled there by car, taking as many bottles and canisters as could fit. But after a few months, you've completely run out of gas. So now and your dad walk all the way down there and back. At least you have a cart, so you can haul more than you would with your bare hands, but the journey still takes the best part of a day. The town has become a really friendly and supportive community. Neighbors help each other all the time, and it's become common to have barbecue parties with the whole neighborhood. Everyone's bringing their own food to contribute, and those who aren't coping with natural living yet take home some goods to fill their bellies for several days. Although you're living on the outskirts, almost in the country, it's still unusual how quiet it is without cars driving by. Still, another sound has replaced the engines: hooves clopping along the road. More and more people are riding horses again to get by. The town itself has grown almost empty. People are leaving their apartments to live in the country, and many of them have to unite in tight groups to survive on the plots of land they've procured for themselves. The best spots are, of course, along the riverbanks. That's where most townspeople have concentrated. Some try to organize posts and sell water from the river, but they were soon put to shame. Free access to water was given to everyone. It's your mom's birthday today. You and Dad have traded some meat and vegetables for a nice bouquet of white roses and strawberries, her favorites. It's the 4th time you celebrate her birthday in this new world. 4.5 years you've been living off the ground, and things are looking better than ever. Your dad talked to the community and the former townspeople by the river, and they agreed to help build an irrigation system. You've dug 3 canals that help water everyone's crops and then return to the main flow. Now, you don't have to travel 12 miles every few days. Also, people from your neighborhood have arranged for communal crops, and you work on your patch every day, sowing, plowing, and harvesting. Afterwards, the harvest is distributed among everyone according to the size of their households. With this system, nobody gets left out, even if they can't work in the field. Surprisingly, you took a liking to this lifestyle. You barely remember what it was like to have a smartphone or to watch TV, but you enjoy the singing of birds every night and working in the fresh air every day. Although it was hard at first, you've now grown tanned and lean and muscular, and both your physical and mental health has improved. You're no longer pursuing deadlines or hurrying anywhere. Your life is now peaceful, and you have a simple purpose: to live and help others. You haven't forgotten your friends either, and you come visit each other often. They come to help you in the field, and in the evenings, you have a dinner together, play cards, and sing songs around the fire. As far as you know, life's never been this simple yet satisfying. Nobody still knows what happened, but it seems to be for the better after all.
Well, hello there, my dear. who's ever listening to this, my name is Energizer. No, Aggravator. No, wait, dagnabbit. I'll get myself together and remember my name correctly. Oh, Ebenezer. Yeah, that's how my ma and pa called me. I ain't nothing special, but it's only yet. I just been born a year after all. My ma's a beautiful lady. She's in her mid-40s now, just the age to have seniors like me. My pa is a big and kindly fella, listening to my blabbering with a smile on his bearded face. I saw their pictures of yore before my time, and pa was a boldy back then. But now his hair is so thick, ma's hands get lost in it. They keep telling me I'll be a good lad when I grow young. I love 'em so much. Well, I'm tired now. Need some beauty sleep here. Evergazer out. Hey there. It's been a while since I recorded something here. I'm 10 now, and it's an awful good time to be alive, you know. I go to school and have lots of friends there. It's a lot of fun to study, and during breaks we play bridge. I love math and literature. You have to make your gears turn to understand those numbers and analyze books. I read a lot too, so I'm the best in my class. Can't stand PE though. My joints aren't saying no thank you exactly for making them run and pump iron. Billy's good at that. He says he's going to be an athlete when he's young. Looking at his physique, I kind of believe him. Okay, the break's over. Time to get back to my studies. Ebenezer out. I'm 20 now, and life's becoming a virtue. I just graduated from college. Been here for close to 5 years, a big deal. I'm officially a master of science now and thinking of becoming a doctor, but I'm not sure my ma and pa will be alright without me. They're already growing too young now, and I'm afraid they'll get in trouble if I'm not there. Once pa went to a party and didn't come back for 3 days. Got ma worried sick. She gave him a huge slap when he finally turned up. They made up real soon, though. Youth is passionate, you know. I used to hate PE at school, but I love it now. Every chance I get, I go running in the nearby park and even ask my parents to get me a gym membership for my birthday. It's so good to feel those old bones creak less and less with each passing day. Oh, incidentally, gotta go for another run now. See you in 10 years, I guess. Ebenezer out. Hey, you know what a pain it is to care for two 70-somethings? All they want to do is throw loud parties at home, have sleepovers every weekend, and fight with each other over some petty stuff. Every time I leave for work, I'm terrified of what I'll see when I get back in the evening. Once I came home and couldn't even open the front door because one of their friends decided to take a nap right on the porch. And whenever I try to bring this topic up with mom or dad, they chide me for being insensitive. Insensitive. They say they brought me up as a good man, but they deserve to have the time of their lives after so many years of hard work. Okay, I surrender. The only person who understands me is Felicity. I'm a civil engineer, and we met at a construction site. She's a bit younger than me, but that's fine. She also has to put up with her parents who are moody all the time. She thinks they've joined some sort of goth subculture or something. And they keep telling her that she's wrong for taking up such a mundane job as a construction supervisor. When we started dating, we decided we'd give our parents some space. So we often leave for long vacations together while they demolish our houses. Oh, there she comes. Well, time for me to go then. Ebenezer out. Hey, remember me? These past 10 years have been grand. Felicity and I got married, and now we take care of our parents together, and it's awesome. They're all in their 80s now and having fun at kindergarten while we're at work, and we take them for barbecues, bubble parties, and theme parks afterwards. They get their retirement benefits all right and leave them for us to take care of. They say we're the best kids they could wish for, and I've never been so proud in my life after hearing this. It's actually Mom's birthday today, and she and Dad invited all their friends from the kindergarten and from her previous job.
My personal favorite's Jenny. She's a little mischief, all right. She spooked both me and Felicity, hiding under the table when we were cooking dinner and then jumping out at us from there. And Felicity adores Donnie. That old boy seems really serious at first glance, but that little grin of his speaks volumes about him. And I've got the best news ever for dessert. Last year, we got our very own senior. Can you believe that? We named her Cecilia after her grandma. Hey Cece, say hi to this thing here. She's shy. Sitting all day in that rocking chair of hers and trying to knit. Can't walk by herself yet, so we move her around the house in that thing. She loves it, always cackles with that toothless laugh of hers. Felicity's now running after Donnie around the backyard with a broom. I think he stole a piece of the birthday cake from the kitchen. Gotta go help her, I guess. Cheers. Ebenezer out. Hey, we've been living without our parents for 3 years now. The last year was the toughest, I guess. I never thought babies needed so many diapers. It was hard to prevent them from falling wherever they crawled, too. But Cece helped us a lot, by the way. She was only 7 and just started going to school, but she loved cooing over them and rocking their cradles. We showed Cece their pictures when they were seniors, just like her. She didn't recognize them, of course. They were so old and gray. Meanwhile, Felicity and I are on our way to retirement, and we're so looking forward to it. I'm 51, and she's 54, which means we're entering our prime now. We decided to let Cece live on her own when she's young enough, and have been looking at various holiday homes in the country. I'm rooting for the one in the mountains. We've been doing a lot of mountain climbing lately, and I feel Felicity is with me in that. Well, I'll keep you updated in a decade. Ebenezer out. Hey, it's Ben again. Yeah, I discarded that awfully boring name, so I go with Ben now. What can I say? Being over 60 is no piece of cake. Oh, Lizzie is always pounding about something, and I think she's jealous of me for hanging out with Lana. But she also keeps saying Dan this, Dan that, as if Dan is everything she can think of. We had lots of fights about that, and once I even spent most of my retirement benefits on a rented apartment and stayed there for 2 weeks. When I got back, we promised each other never to speak with Lana or Dan ever again. Cece seemed frustrated with us way too often. Come on, give me a break. Can't a married couple get some life after retirement? She calls us every evening and threatens to come to our place if we don't behave. Since when has that old girl become so adult, I wonder? Huh? Oh, okay. Anyway, Will says the zip line from the top of the mountain is ready. We're going for a flight of our lifetime. Ben out. How do you use this? Oh, yeah, hey. Hey, it's Ben. Ebenezer. I'm 72 today. Did you know that? Cece says I have to record something to commemorate this date. I don't know what to say, but I want my cake already. Cece, where's my cake?
Well, hello there. It's Franklin speaking. My grandpops Ebenezer left this device for posterity, which I guess I am. He's 84 now and mostly lying around in his little bed, but Mom tells me lots of stories about him and Grandma. I think I'll take up his tradition and let his legacy live on. Oops, little Benny soiled his nappy. Gotta go now. Franklin out.
It all started a year ago, when I got a new job. I have to admit I'm quite a gamer, so when I saw the ad in the paper, I called them immediately. Wanted, video game player. It turned out the offer wasn't that simple. Yes, my job was to play video games, but all day long, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days in total. I'd have 8 hours to sleep and a half hour in the morning and in the evening to eat and shower. No days off, no vacation. Take it or leave it. It scared me, and I was reluctant to agree. But then the employer told me my yearly salary, and I was in. If I did it for a year, I'd never have to work again. So I decided to give it a try. Day 1. They said I'd work and live in some sort of office, and I'd have everything I need. At 8 a.m., I arrived at the address. The place was huge and beautiful. A woman met me and took me to my room, a dark room in the back of the house. It had a huge TV with a game station, speakers, and controllers. There was a comfortable couch, a table, and a bathroom. It looked like a gamer's paradise. I was going to stay there for a whole year, probably never even leave the room. According to the schedule, my day had to start at 8 a.m. I had half an hour to take a shower and eat the breakfast delivered to my room. At 8:30, I had to start playing. Well, working. Every day, the system would generate a gaming selection according to my employer's requirements and make me follow them. There were some snacks on the side table to eat if I got hungry, without interrupting my game. I also got a 10-minute break every 5 hours to go to the bathroom and exercise. At 11:30 p.m., the system shut down, and I got my dinner and shower time. Midnight till 8 a.m., sleep. Well, it seemed pretty easy and straightforward, and I was crazy excited. Exactly at 8:30, my first game started. The first 8 hours flew by in the blink of an eye. I wanted to exercise a little, but I had to wait another 2 hours before my 10-minute break. By the end of the day, my neck started to hurt a little, but it didn't matter. After getting some snacks, I kept playing for another 2 hours before I got my well-deserved break. 10 minutes was actually enough to fully recover and get back to my game for the remaining 5 hours. To be honest, it was one of the best days of my life. My dream had come true. I could play all day long, make a lot of money, and no one would bug me. Day 2. A piercing siren woke me up. I had to clasp my hands over my ears while I looked for some kind of off switch. The noise was unbearable. Finally, I figured out that I had to get up, walk to the TV, and press a button on it. To my relief, it worked. Okay, figured that one out. I went to take a shower, and when I was done, breakfast was served. By 8:30, I was ready and excited for my second day, and life had another surprise for me. When I saw the schedule for the day, I almost screamed. I was going to be playing a brand new game that hadn't even been released yet. It was just too exciting. I was sure I had the best job on the planet. Day 4. Today was a little bit harder. I got blisters on my fingers and I had to bandage them. Playing 15 hours straight was a little hard and I needed an extra break. I tried to cheat and take a short pause after the first 3 hours, but it didn't work. As soon as I hit pause and put the controller down, the system went crazy. It didn't turn off until I picked up the controller and started to play again. Okay, no pauses, got it. Day 15. I had to bandage my hands as well as my fingers. Now I constantly have blurry eyes and can't see straight anymore. And my legs feel like jelly. I keep reminding myself to move around as much as possible, but I'm always way too tired. What if I forget how to walk? Yesterday I fell asleep right after work. I didn't even eat. I just fell asleep. But my sleep hasn't really been that restful recently. In my dreams, I'm always racing, playing soccer, building houses out of cubes, fighting battles, and searching for objects. My job is haunting me, and it feels like I work 24 hours a day, not 15. Morning came. The siren woke me up, but the only thing I wanted to do was sleep. And what I'd do for a normal dream like a normal person? 350 days to go. Tonight, before bed, I have to come up with a plan, something to make my life as normal as possible. I can't go on like this anymore. Day 32. 1 month down. My first small victory. I'm more organized, and I managed to come up with a nice system that keeps me from going crazy. I try to play standing up as much as possible and move around when I can. I spend all my breaks outside, enjoying the fresh air and doing vision exercises. I still have blurry and itchy eyes, though. And the bad news? Today I realized that I'm seeing things, video game things. They're creeping into my actual life. I was in the shower last night and I saw a car crash right in front of me. I totally lost it. But it's not real. It's not real. To make things worse, I'm starting to imagine that I'm actually a video game character. Strength, 70. Intelligence, 90. Health, 50. Day 100. Being active was a good idea, but now I think I have serious sleep disorder. I can't sleep well, and I never get enough rest. I feel like I'm turning into, well, I don't even know anymore. I'm getting so tired, I don't even have the energy to exercise. I haven't been doing my workouts for a week now, and whenever I'm on the couch, I can't feel my legs. Well, at least I walk to the bathroom and back 2 times a day, so my legs aren't totally shot. That's something, at least. I don't remember not having all of my body hurt. It hurts all the time, but somehow I got used to it. My wrists, my neck, my back, everything hurts. I constantly have headaches. Health, 30. Day 260. I'm having trouble getting to the bathroom these days. I can barely walk a couple of steps because my legs just don't move. And I feel like I never leave the game. It's my life now. Even if I'm on break, the games are all around me. My real life is just a crazy mix of all the games I've been playing. Today I saw a chest on the table. I'd never seen it before, so I wanted to see what was inside. I was trying to grab it for ages, and I realized it wasn't real. It was just in my head. I think I've doubled in size because now I need double the time on the couch that I used to. Health, 20. Day 366. For the first time, no siren. The woman woke me up at 11 a.m., handed me my paycheck, and said I should go. The number on the paycheck was truly impressive, but I didn't even have enough strength to be happy. I can't believe it's over. I did it. Planes crashed down right in front of me, but I'm so used to it that I don't even pay attention. With my diamond sword in my hand, I waddle to the bathroom, crushing everything in my way because I've gotten way too big for this little room. My pals are on a mission to capture some castle, but that's not my quest anymore. They're not even real, are they? To be honest, I'm not even sure what's real anymore. The woman takes me down the stairs to the front door. When I step outside, my eyes seal shut. Sunlight. So bright I can't see a thing. The woman gives me a pair of sunglasses, and I'm on my way. I see people and other weird creatures running around, cars driving, and cubed sheep grazing past me. It takes all my energy. But I get to a taxi and, finally, head home. So, now I'm rich and super unhealthy. I guess I'll need the rest of my life to recover from this marathon. And I'm never playing video games again.
Okay, what if pressing only one key could change your life forever and make it much easier? Well, if we were in Minecraft, everything would be possible. Too hard to live? Too many tasks, deadline, school classes are tedious, and you just can't go on like this? Change your life mode to somewhat less challenging. Just press escape. Adjust your life difficulty choosing peaceful, easy, normal, or even hard for those who like it tough. If your teacher is as hostile as a green and white pixelated creeper, choose peaceful mode. Monsters don't spawn there. Or just get yourself a cat. Creepers are terrified when they see them. Even if your pet looks a bit boxish. One more cool piece of news, if your life is in peaceful mode now, you don't even need to eat, which could save you a ton of money. As for appearances, no more worries about pimples. Now that you're pixelated, nobody's ever going to notice them. You look the same every day. Your haircut, even if you hate it and can't wait for your hair to grow, never changes unless you change the skins. You can't grow or lose some pounds. Your body proportions are much different too. In our world, the head-to-body ratio is about 1:7, and in Minecraft, it's more as if everyone had a baby body with a huge head and smaller torso. You wouldn't have fingers, so if you had Minecraft body in real life, you wouldn't be good at fine motor skills. I guess no Minecraft surgery, huh? No matter what kind of biome you live in, you don't need some super cold-resistant clothes or nice shoes. Life without changes means that you don't age the way we normally do. No more birthdays anymore. The cake you find in the game is not for candles or making wishes. It can only help you if you're starving. A day-night cycle is somewhat different now, with 100 Minecraft days equaling 33 standard hours, so life expectancy should change too. The average lifespan in the USA is 78 years, or about 683,000 hours. So the average lifespan, according to Minecraft, would jump up to 5,700 years. Hey, and you can also respawn. Ready to live forever? Food isn't that different from what we have in real life, even in terms of calories. A whole cake will replenish your energy so much more than a plain beetroot. Carbs. There would be some exceptions too. A golden apple gives extra health in Minecraft. So sad Golden Delicious from Walmart are only delicious in real life. You can starve in Minecraft in 2 game days, though it takes a bit longer in real life. Yeah, going with no food is a real challenge, but a human actually can do that. Water, on the other hand, is pretty essential in our world, but doesn't do much to Minecraft people when they drink it. Today's agriculture uses some fertilizers to speed up plant growing. But if we had that bone meal Minecraft people feed their plants with, we'd have an abundance of any fruit or vegetables. Life would be quite boring though. You wake up today and you mine. You wake up the next day, you craft. The retail industry could never compete with skillful people, who actually don't need it, being able to create various objects from scratch. Anyway, you don't need that much. You can do almost anything with a mere pickaxe, upgrading it to a diamond one. All those hardware stores full of handy items would go bust in a real world with a pickaxe replacing everything else. You'd also have to be a bit more hard-working though. If you want to have a nap, there's no way you could do that in the Minecraft world. Here, you only sleep at night or if there's bad weather outside. Sleep is essential not to be caught by monsters that appear as soon as the night falls. And you gotta be sure there are no monsters nearby before you go to bed anyway. You can only sleep in your bed though. Even if you want to spread on a nice meadow in the shadow, you won't just fall asleep. Same with school classes. No matter how boring they are, it's just impossible to doze off. If you're used to watching pop science TV shows, well, that's something that would probably be almost unchanged. Discovery Channel would show not only various biomes and square animals, but other worlds too, like the Nether and the Overworld. Anyway, you wouldn't spend that much time indoors. Most activities in Minecraft are performed outdoors, so you'd have to go outside really often. Traveling is fun in Minecraft world. Want to visit the Nether? No, not the Netherlands. It's a trip to the underworld. No need to buy tickets, go through customs, spend hours in a tiny airplane seat. You only want some lava and a bit of water. Pour one over the other and you get obsidian. As soon as you create at least 8 blocks of the stuff, build a portal with them, set it on fire, and voila! Welcome to the Nether. If you travel a lot, you can casually grab your bed with you and assemble it wherever you want. Nice move to avoid pricey hotels, which are missing in the Nether anyway. It's not just a fun trip though. There are a bunch of ingredients you may need for potions. No fancy souvenirs either. Rather, some useful stuff you mine from exotic Nether blocks. Despite their moniker, locals called zombie pigmen are quite friendly and never attack unless it's you who started a fight. Lava can help you to travel, be a kind of trash bin, and keep intruders away. In Minecraft world, you can be sure unexpected guests won't bother you. They'll just fall into boiling lava. End of story. You can also install a tripwire hook just behind your front door to activate piston-based traps for unwanted visitors. Once your guest triggers the tripwire, the pistons will remove the flooring and send the visitor into the void. If you're going to the seaside, take your front door with you. It'll help you explore the ocean deep. If you fall into water, all you need to breathe freely is place a door above you. Nobody could ever hold their breath for more than 24 minutes in our real life, but in Minecraft, you can stay underwater almost forever, or just as long as you want. Transportation system is much cooler now. You can still use all the means of transport you're used to, but having a ride in a cart can be both fun and fast. Just build the rails wherever you want and forget about traffic jams. Physics are another big change. They give you lots of superpowers not accessible in the real world. You can jump higher, climb any mountain easier, and run faster as if the whole gravity stuff was a joke to you. You can make a vertical row of blocks, and even if you smash the lowest block, the one above it will hang in the air. It doesn't mean you can't fall down from a height. You can. But it's safe if you just spill some water from a bucket right before the impact. Not only can you perform all that, but you can also easily chop a massive trunk in just a few moves. No tools necessary, by the way, just your bare hands. And not even a scratch left on them afterwards. You don't feel pain in this world. Don't worry, the top branches of the tree you just fell won't hurt you either, since they'll be hung in the air. Deforestation in Minecraft looks insane. Can you imagine a forest made up of floating trees? No squirrel could ever climb any trunk in such a forest. Walking around here, you're likely to come across wild animals, such as bears and wolves. You can domesticate wolves and almost convert them into dogs, and bears are not that dangerous for you. Just trap them inside a fence. It looks flimsy, but it's Minecraft world, so it's absolutely safe.
Imagine that Earth's rotation stops one day and tomorrow never comes. Life will never be the same. But if you can escape to an underground bunker, you may have a chance to carry on. Normally our planet makes a rotation every 24 hours at a speed of 1,040 miles per hour. This is faster than the speed of sound and several times faster than the fastest cars in the world. We don't feel it while it's rotating, but we will when the Earth suddenly stops. At the last second, you run into an underground bunker. You close the hatch, go deep underground, and hear the chaos that has begun on the surface. All the people, houses, cars, ships, roads, trees, animals, topsoil, anything not connected to bedrock will fly off to the east. Hurricanes and tsunamis will appear. The endless day brings huge global earthquakes, and volcanoes will awaken and erupt, threatening to destroy everything. Meanwhile, you're drinking tea and waiting in the bunker until the catastrophe ends. 2 days later, you realize that silence has come to the surface. You go upstairs, open the hatch, and water flows inside the bunker. Great, your shelter is flooded. You swim to the surface and find yourself on the middle of the ocean. Fortunately, a big ship passes by with other survivors and they take you on board. You're looking around and realize that the water seems to be almost everywhere on the planet now. Since the global stopping, the water on Earth has united into two oceans, the North and South, and all continents have become one, connected on the equator. You and the survivors sail a very long time under the scorching sun. Then night comes, not because the day has finally ended, but because the ship has arrived at the other half of the Earth. The unbearable heat is replaced by terrible cold. You're finally approaching the equator, and you can see land, but unfortunately, everything is frozen here. On this side of the planet, all nature freezes and night never ends. It'll be very difficult to move around to get food. You need to find the land on the warm half of the planet. Weeks later, you arrive, but find nothing except a desert. The temperature is so high that agriculture can't be created here. You start to worry that there's nowhere for you to go. But there is one area. The border between the hot and cold halves have ideal conditions for living. Places where you can watch the endless sunset or dawn. You arrive here and finally get some rest and sleep. But it turns out now you have some problems with this too. Your sleep biorhythms are damaged because of the long bright day and the long dark night. This affected your psychological and physical development. It takes a while for you to fall asleep. But life is getting better. You build a house, even start farming, but not for long. The temperature drops very fast and it becomes colder and darker outside. This happens because the Earth is slowly spinning around the sun and the borders are shifting. You build a motorhome and travel around the world, following the space between the hot and cold sides of the planet.
with long stops to enjoy sunsets and rises. You hear a strange sound, the sound of storm. A big wave approaches you. Come on, what's happened this time? Well, the Earth's shape has changed. Our planet has become more of a sphere or ball. Before, the Earth's shape was flattened because of the fast rotation. It was wider at the equator and had a slightly flattened circle shape. When the Earth stopped, it became perfectly round. The world's oceans change again. Floods are inevitable. Fortunately, you have a little boat and you sail around the world once more. When you find land, you face another big problem, but this time it's not from Earth. It's space radiation. The old magnetic field worked thanks to the Earth's rotation. It protected us from the solar winds, ultraviolet radiation, and radiation from the deeps of space. Now it's gone. Without it, existence on the surface of the planet is impossible. Time to go back underground. You're hiding in a new bunker with other survivors. You dig tunnels, build underground cities, and only go to the surface in special protective suits. But there is nothing left. No plants or trees or animal life. You have to grow wheat and plants in the underground city using artificial lights. But things could be even worse if the Earth halted completely. If the Earth stops spinning around the sun's gravity will pull our planet so quickly that people won't have time to create a huge spacecraft to evacuate. Normally, our planet spinning around the sun is like riding a fast carousel. You can't get too close to the center because of the high speed. In fact, billions of years ago, the Earth rotated even faster, and days passed in 14 to 18 hours. But every 100 years, the day length increases by about 2 milliseconds. And what if the Earth rotates backward? Unfortunately, there won't be any time traveling to the past. Continents and oceans would remain in their place, but the weather conditions would greatly change. Using computer simulations, you find that deserts would cover North America and replace the Amazon rainforest. Western Europe will be much colder. Central Africa will be overgrown with lush forests and green fields. Dense trees, rivers, and lakes would appear in the Sahara Desert. You wish you could live in a place with a very long day, without catastrophes, where the sun is always warm, the flowers are blooming, and people are happy. Well, there were such places like this on old Earth, close to the North Pole: Finland, Sweden, Norway, Canada. These long sunny days are the result of the tilt of Earth's axis. Up at the top, the North Pole just can't hide from the light. The shortest polar day lasts almost 2 days, and the longest is about 6 months. However, a place where the sun always shines exists nowhere on Earth. Sooner or later, night will come. Before the Earth stopped rotating, you could visit the northern parts of these countries and enjoy one day lasting spring to autumn. But it wasn't all that easy. Tourists suffered from insomnia. You'd fall asleep, wake up, and spend all your time while the sun continued to shine. Just like you have become used to your life underground, the locals were used to this life too. They didn't follow a certain sleep schedule and fell asleep when they felt the need. The endless sun saturated people with vitamin D and provided a lot of energy and productivity. But a long night followed after the long day. The lack of sun can cause depression. But people of the North fought it with the help of skis, baths, and a fabulous atmosphere on the streets. Cafes, houses, parks were decorated with bells and lights, so you felt like you were in a winter fairy tale and didn't have a bad mood. Maybe, if the Earth starts to rotate again, you can visit them in the future.
The ocean is turning red hot. You try to get closer for a better look, but you start feeling the air getting hotter and hotter, like reaching into an oven. And the sand is so hot that your rubber slippers start melting. The oceans somehow turned into steamy, hot, gooey lava. You start running inland and see a frenzy of people running wild. See, in reality, lava is made of molten rocks from below the Earth's surface. Deep inside our planet, like the distance between New York and Philadelphia deep, the underground heat from the core melts rocks the same way the sun melts ice cream. When these rocks melt, their temperatures can reach around 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. But don't worry, that only happens really deep under the ground, and only in some specific areas, mostly around the Atlantic Ocean. and it only pops out of the ground when there's so much pressure that it flows up to the surface as a gooey orange super hot liquid called lava that usually erupts through a volcano's neck. But somehow, the entire ocean is made of lava now. And although from a really far away distance, it looks pretty cool to look at, it's really dangerous. First of all, say goodbye to the beautiful blue waves and the ocean currents. Unlike water, lava is thicker, closer to creamy peanut butter in texture, so the wind can't move it around like it used to. But that also means that nothing can sink or swim in it. So even if some ocean creatures could withstand the super high temperatures of lava, they won't be able to live inside of it. They'll either be submerged or float on the surface instead, depending on their density. So, all our marine friends and other creatures that used to call the ocean home will need to find another body of water to live in if they want to survive. Actually, the only animals on this planet that could possibly survive the heat of lava would be the tardigrades. These cute microscopic creatures can survive in any extreme environment on this planet. From frozen icy glaciers to hot and fiery volcanoes. They can even survive in outer space under the cosmic rays. You run away from the beach along with everyone else nearby. The atmosphere is getting thicker and it's not easy to see around you. You think to yourself, I should have stayed home. But home isn't exactly safe either. The heat radiating from all the lava alone would be intolerable for miles. So no more houses by the sea and beach resorts. You're gonna want to make sure you live as far away from the ocean as possible. Most of the coastal cities would become instantly uninhabitable, especially areas touching the ocean with more than one side. Places like Florida, California, and Central America would become mostly unbearable to live in. And that's not to mention island life. Most islands would be so hot that no animal or plant could survive. 97% of the planet was made up of ocean water, and it now all turned to lava. No place on Earth can hold snow anymore, as the planet would look like a glowing orange lava ball. Temperatures would rise so much that the furthest place from the shores and even the highest peaks will still feel like the hottest day in a desert. As you keep running away from the ocean, you realize that maybe you're dreaming, but you look at your skin and see so much redness. Even if you run for miles, the heat will still catch up to you. All the offshore oil rigs and ships in the middle of the oceans will face plenty of problems too. Their metallic composition would simply glow red and melt instantly when in contact with hot lava. And even if it doesn't melt, you better hope nobody happens to be on it. But in any event like that, they would have evacuated everyone. Meanwhile, at the North and South Poles, where the planet is at its coldest, all the ice that was covering the ocean is instantly melting in contact with the lava. It would then cool down and solidify into rocky black landmasses called igneous rocks that are often glassy in texture. The moment the hot lava cools down, huge clouds of acidic steam and gases get released into the air, covering the sky. Scientists call those lays, which is a combination of the words lava and haze. Kinda like when you exit the shower and all the heat comes in contact with the cold outside air, creating a haze, except this one would cover the whole North and South Poles, and it would be super toxic. It sometimes even contains tiny glass particles that are extremely hazardous. And this laze can travel around the world with strong enough wind and cover almost the entire northern hemisphere. It could also cover the southern part of New Zealand, Argentina, South Africa, and Australia. Flying an airplane through this gas wouldn't be the best idea. The heat alone emitted from the lava would be enough to cause major damage to the exterior and affect the airplane's hardware. It's a good thing you found your trusty oxygen container. The air is barely breathable at this point. You make your way to your car and drive away as fast as you can. But even your car's taken some damage. You drive out to the countryside, where the atmosphere hasn't been affected by the lava yet. But even all the way out here, the temperature is changing. The river you used to see on your weekly hikes is drying up. The plants around you are losing their green lush. The animals around have migrated to a different place. Rivers flowing into the ocean would simply create mounds of glassy igneous rocks upon contact, permanently creating natural dams. The rest of the water inland, like in ponds and lakes, would eventually evaporate over time. With the rise in temperatures and no rainfall, it would be the end of water on the planet as we know it. The huge mass of ocean water plays a major role in creating clouds and rainfall. Without water in the atmosphere, the sun's heat would add to the lavas. The world would be a huge barren wasteland. The nights would be hot and the days even hotter.
Hop on the bright side of life together with our brand new tees, hoodies, and more. Click the link to pick your choice.
Still, lava cools down eventually in contact with the cool air. So soon enough, the surface would start forming a thin layer of black crust that would gradually thicken over the years. The thicker the lava, the longer it takes to completely cool down on the inside. It would still be super hot though, but at least if you touch it, you won't be directly touching the burning lava. That's actually how many islands were formed, like the Hawaiian Islands, for example. They're fully formed by lava erupting from below the ocean that dried over hundreds of thousands of years. It accumulated layers over layers of solidified lava from below the ocean until it rose above the surface, forming islands and even mountains. As we speak, a new landmass in Hawaii is being formed by an active volcano. Scientists expect it to be a new fully formed island in about 10,000 years. So now, the view that used to be the blue ocean turned into steamy glowing orange slime that will in turn quickly transform into a solid black wasteland. But don't think you can easily walk over that ocean. It could take hundreds of years for it to fully cool down and turn into solid rock. Until then, walking on that dried lava crust would be similar to walking on a frozen lake, except that in this case, one misstep would cause you to fall into boiling hot lava instead of ice-cold water. Some regions would even take thousands of years to fully solidify. The Mariana Trench, the deepest region of the ocean, is about a whopping 43,000 feet deep. It would actually take at least 5,000 years for that much lava to completely cool down. There are many planets out there that are so-called lava planets. A recently discovered planet, K2-141b, has magma oceans, supersonic winds up to 3,000 miles per hour, and even rocky rains. That's right, the planet is so hot that it vaporizes rocks and rains them back down. Keep in mind that this planet is much closer to the sun than our planet is. Maybe their oceans once turned into lava overnight.
Hey, welcome to Earth 2050. You're living in a world after the great temperature shift of 2020. Days are as hot as they can be, and nights are just as cold. Humans have always depended on the environment, but now they're more vulnerable than ever. Fuel, money, precious metals all lost their value in a world where ice costs more than gold during the day, and you can exchange a brand new designer watch for an electric blanket at night. You don't remember the world that used to be because you were born in the new climatic era. You were lucky to find a good job right after college. The company you work for sells bottled water. When it's 100 degrees plus outside during the day, bottled water is on top of world sales. The antiperspirant business is booming too. People can easily go through 2 sticks a week. You wake up at 6:30 when it's still cold. The sun comes up in half an hour, and the shift will follow shortly after. There's a half-hour window between 7 and 7:30 when temperatures are pretty moderate, like spring in the old times. Most of the day, from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., is like living in an oven. 7:30 to 8 p.m., it's probably like what they used to call autumn. From then on, it's 40 below. Today's a big day. Could mean your first promotion. You take a deep breath, slide your feet into your slippers, and head to the shower. On autopilot of the day-to-day routine, you first turn the sink faucet all the way off. It's an old-world habit your parents recommended to keep the pipes from freezing. Even though all of yours are up to code, wrapped in heating tape and insulated, you'd rather not risk it. You get dressed, the daily shorts, sandals, and tank top. They have high-tech thermo clothes that adjust for the day and night temperatures. But you don't have the money for those. Maybe if you get that promotion, you can invest in a good, efficient wardrobe. Funny thing is, you can always tell a person's status by looking at them. Some things never change. The thermos walk confidently with their stylish techwear. You and the rest of the baggers pack extra clothes for work and cold evenings. Got your umbrella? Doesn't help with the heat, but at least the sun doesn't beat directly down on you. Shades, deodorant, SPF, day supplies are good. Now for evening. Gloves? Check. Winter ding! You get a text message. It's your boss. You're coming in a little earlier today to set up for the presentation, right? You text her back and head to the kitchen for breakfast. Coffee's a luxury. Same goes for fruits and veggies, unless you grow them at home, but your personal greenhouse is pretty modest. Tomatoes, corn, some melons, and lettuce. The greenhouse is still cold and heat-resistant like the standard model, but you definitely need to upgrade to a bigger one. No time, too much work. You grab an apple, a bottle of water, your bag, and rush out the door. You usually leave at 7:15. It's a 15-minute walk to the office, just enough to beat the heat. But you're out shortly after sunrise today. There are thousands of people on the street. Everyone tries to stay indoors unless it's during those 30-minute pockets of moderate weather. Even with the crowd traffic, you still get to the office just in time to set up for the big presentation. You majored in water manufacturing and distribution. When you told your boss about this idea of yours, she immediately invited the bigwigs to hear you out. It could cut the price of bottled water in half and put the company in the history books. You hurry to the locker room to change into your suit. The presentation goes great, despite your nervousness. Your boss tells you big things are coming your way, but take a vacation because you'll need plenty of rest before work begins on turning your idea into a reality. You go online to see your options. People don't vacation to the beach anymore because the climate is pretty much the same everywhere. That, and you can't fly anywhere. Air travel is a thing of the past since planes can't take off in 100-degree weather. High heat means air is thinner, so the wings can't produce lift. At least, that's what your granddad told you. He was a pilot in the times before the shift. Skiing, ice skating, and snowboarding are now done only at indoor artificial snow resorts. Now that sounds refreshing. You finish work at 4 p.m. You think about going straight home, but you're in such a good mood, you decide to go for a stroll in the park. Gotta change back into your shorts and tank first. You walk along the empty streets. Hardly anyone just hoofs around in the heat of the day. Whew! You immediately understand why. You look at the city. Short groundscapers line the streets. Skyscrapers are no more. The huge temperature fluctuation between day and night made them unstable and wore them down. Plus, skyscrapers trap heat and make the city hotter, something nobody needs in this new age. You look at the rooftops, covered in solar panels. Everything runs on sun power. Cars, public transport, central heating and cooling. The sun may feel like your worst enemy during the day, but at least it helps keep you warm inside at night. The park looks nice from afar. Trees, bushes, green grass, and flowers. But everybody knows they aren't real. Unless plants are in a greenhouse, they're artificial. The daytime heat would scorch and dry them up. The blistering cold would freeze them overnight. You sit down on a bench and hear two old men talking about how different the world is today. The landscape changed so much. Ponds and lakes evaporated entirely within a few months. They reminisce about fishing trips, farms, and fields. Yeah, only desert animals made it through the shift. You can see coyotes, roadrunners, lizards, and scorpions if you head far enough out of the city. Camels have replaced cows and horses on every continent. 30 years of the new climatic era aren't enough for evolution to make any big changes, but people have already started to look different too. Skin is getting thicker and rougher to deal with the temperature fluctuations. Eyebrows are bushier to keep the sweat on your forehead from rolling down into the eyes. One of the old men looks at his watch. 7:30. We gotta skedaddle, Jim. It's 7:30 already? You've already wandered far from your house. You open your bag and dig for your pants, gloves, boots, and where's your winter coat? You keep digging. Panic rises in your chest. You start throwing things out of your bag, desperately hoping it's buried at the bottom. No such luck. You get a chill down your spine. Fear? Yes. But also because it's already cooling down. You throw all your stuff back in the bag and start sprinting down the street. 7:40. You're not gonna make it. At least the running is keeping you pretty warm. 7:50. There are no buses, no cars, no nothing. Everybody's already inside. 7:55. You know what's coming if you don't get home by 8. When it's minus 40 degrees and you're in your daytime clothes, it takes just 5 minutes for hypothermia to set in. You've heard the horror stories. People venturing out into the cold without the right gear on. First, the shivering, rapid heartbeat. Your body fights to keep you warm. Then the shivering stops. Heart rate goes down. You start to feel lightheaded. Your body gives up. When they pass out, that's it. 7:58. You see your street up ahead. Come on, legs, go faster. 8 p.m. The cold knocks the wind out of you. You're a minute from your house. Just keep going. The air stings your lungs. Your eyelashes get covered in ice. Your nose is bright red. Is this it? This is how you go? 8:01. You burst through your front door and fall to the floor. Made it. You open your eyes, and the first thing you see is your winter coat hanging on the back of your desk chair. You can't help but burst out in laughter at your carelessness. This day that started out so perfectly, yet turned so quickly, like day and night. I really do need that vacation. Vacation has come. Happy, you rush home, put on your best suit, and go to your friend's place. It's a big country house. You pass through a wide gate decorated with lights. Music is coming from inside. You go in and find yourself in a spacious hall. A rock band is playing on the stage. You meet a lot of smartly dressed people. Everyone's dancing, talking, drinking cocktails, and eating pizza. You go out to the backyard. It's even more fun here than inside. People are splashing in a huge pool, playing ball. The DJ is playing a funky music set. This is the best party of your life. You meet cool guys and girls, talk with them, dance, eat, and drink. The rock band plays rousing songs. And when you get tired of dancing, you go to the pool and swim. In the middle of the night, fireworks start off into the sky. Colorful lights paint the night red. Yee-haw! Morning. You don't even remember how you fell asleep. You wake up in one of the house's rooms and hear the music. You open the door, go down, and the party's in full swing. The rock band is still playing, and there are lots of people dancing around. You go to the backyard and jump into the pool to freshen up. You plan to go camping today, but since the party is still going on, you decide to stay. Music, people, swimming pool, food, cocktails, dancing. Night falls and morning. You hear the music again. You go down to the main hall. The rock band continues to play, but they look exhausted. Cans of energy drinks are scattered on the stage. You can't see people you met yesterday, but there are newcomers. Nobody is swimming in the pool because it's raining outside. The DJ is sleeping in a chair, the music playing without him. You're not having so much fun anymore. You have a breakfast of chips and soda and go home to take a shower. As you go along your street, you hear your neighbors having parties too, but don't pay much regard to it. At home, you turn on the tap. Doesn't work. It seems there was some kind of accident and water turned off in the whole neighborhood. You decide to go to the party house and have a shower there. A new band is playing. More new people have arrived. You finally wash yourself and decide to stay here for another day. Someone orders pizza with drinks. You eat and dance. Morning. Your ears are ringing from all the music. You're going to leave for good. You go down and see your friend on the stage. He says that whoever stays at this party for a whole year will get $1 million. Your jaw drops at this generosity, and you decide to stay. A week has passed. Your hearing has adjusted to the music. Every 2 days, the rock band and DJs are replaced. New people appear in the house, but you also see familiar faces. You're not the only one who decided to try to win $1 million. July. You walk around the house in slippers, passing through the dancing crowd. A rock band is playing, but you don't care. You've got earplugs. You've already quit your job and are getting used to a party lifestyle. You cleaned up your room, but in the late afternoon, a few guys and girls decide to have dinner there. You get angry and go to sleep in another room. August. You've gotten to know every corner of the house. By the way, the place is deteriorating with every passing day. Cracks appear in the walls, the ceiling turns yellow, the floor creaks, and there's also an unpleasant smell in the air. In one of the rooms, you discover towers of empty pizza boxes. You can't look at them. You've already got stomach issues from all this fast food. The pool is dirty, but people still swim in it sometimes. DJs keep switching, but the music doesn't. You meet people who have been here as long as you have. They don't look very fresh. There are black circles under their eyes, and their hair is a mess. You wonder if you look any better and seek a mirror, but turns out all of them have been broken. September. Moving around the house has become difficult because your feet stick to the floor. Remnants of pizza and snacks are lying around, moldy, and there are rats scurrying all over the place. Some of the guests continue dancing, others sleep right on the floor, others still are carrying the TV out of the house. The party is getting ugly. Next morning, you wake up and decide to fix everything. You go to the bathroom, find a mop with a bucket, go down and start cleaning the floors. You move to the rhythm of the music. People around start joining you. Cleaning together is fun, too. Then you go to the pool. You take out all the trash with a scoop net. After that, you fill the pool with bleaching powder. You don't sleep for almost 2 days and make the house sparkling clean. All the rooms are shiny, no rats anymore. The air smells nice, and even the rock band is playing clean instruments. You don't have the strength to stand up any longer, so you collapse on the bed and instantly fall asleep. You sleep for almost a day and wake up because a group of people burst into the room. They laugh, litter on the floor, and spill their drinks. You go down and find yourself in the middle of a new party. Everyone is dancing, eating pizza, and ruining the house. Oh no! You leave the house in frustration. This is unbearable. There are still 8 months left, and you know you can't take it. You run out of the house and find another party, right on the street. People are having fun and dancing. Music plays everywhere. What's going on? You go to the nearest store. People are grabbing everything from the shelves, talking and tapping their feet to the rhythm. You go to another store and see the same picture. Libraries, cafes, city administration, schools, sports grounds. All of these are nightclubs now. You ask people what's going on here, but all they answer is, "We're just having fun." November. You've already accepted that the party spirit has captivated the whole world. Factories, markets, hospitals, shops stopped working because everyone just hangs out. The streets are filled with garbage. People look tired but somehow happy. The water has been turned off in dwellings and everybody bathes in the city lake. Luckily, the food is still there and people share it with each other. January. Let it snow. Everybody's singing. Muscles on your legs have become stronger from all the dancing. There's no more electronic music because there's no electricity. Rock bands play drums and acoustic guitars. Some even bang on trash cans with sticks. You think you might be going crazy. You laugh for no reason. And when you find yourself in a quiet place, the music still rings in your ears. March. The snow is melted and people keep having fun. They look like they just got out of caves. Those tired of dancing leave the city, becoming hermits. It's actually becoming a new trend. May. You don't know what year, what month, or what day of the week it is. But now you've learned to make fire with no tools but sticks and stones, play music on trash cans, and hunt. Bored people bring down entire houses and catch horses to ride around the city. It seems to you that the party has been there all your life. It's certainly been there for ages. You climb to the roof of the highest building and watch the whole city hanging out. Joyful cries, sounds of broken glass. You lie on your back and just look up at the sky. For the first time, you feel at peace. June. All of a sudden, it's over. The merriment and party mood has disappeared in the blink of an eye, and people have opened their eyes to the consequences. But the cool thing is that no one looks upset. Everyone has had a great rest. No one knows what got into them for such a long time, and it seems the planet has just given us all a chance to relax and take a break from modern life full of stress. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want